Dear participants, all your audio are muted at your entry, and if you want, you can switch off your video for better bandwidth. Next, during the question answer session, if you want to ask any questions to the resource person, you can raise your hand or you can type your questions on the chat box, and we will moderate the questions for you to the resource person after the presentation. Let's keep the chat box only for typing your questions. Regarding the feedback link, it will be provided at the end of the session, so you can make use of it and get your e-certificates. Finally, make sure you have a stable internet connection to experience the essentials of the webinar. We'll start the program in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned. Shall we start, one?
Yes, please.
A very pleasant morning to all the participants who have logged in for this national webinar on promoting creativity in learning and teaching, organized by NKT Center of Excellence, NKT National College of Education for Women, Chennai. I now call upon our distinguished principal, Dr. S. Shamandishwari, to address the gathering. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ruth. Good morning to one and all present over here. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome all the participants and the resource expert over here for this national webinar on promoting creativity in teaching and learning, which is being organized by NKT Center of Excellence, and it is also being coordinated by Mrs. A. Enid Ruth and Mrs. T. Anita Devi. The college has been conducting and organizing various webinars, online programs during this pandemic period to enhance the quality of teaching and also to enhance the learning from the side of the students. And in this connection, we have today a very interesting topic, promoting creativity in teaching and learning. For all these years, we have been thinking that teaching is only something to do with talking of the teacher and to do with the blackboard and also a few demonstrations. But the pandemic period has really taught us to adopt us and also to equip us with various methods of teaching so that we are able to reach out to the students and we are also able to keep them engaged in a very meaningful way. And we are also able to train the students to teach better, to teach to the students when they go into different schools and take up their job. So job readiness is a very important aspect that all colleges of education are focusing upon today. And to this special day, we have with us Mr. M.R. Ranganathan. who is the director of ASK AOTS Doski Tamil Nadu Center. And it gives me immense pleasure, sir, on behalf of the management, my faculty and students, and on my own behalf, to welcome you. And with a note of gratitude to our Honorable Secretary for all his unconditional support and guidance, and also a note of appreciation to our organizers, Mrs. A. Enid Ruth and T. Anita Devi. So let me welcome all of you once again to this national webinar. Over to you, Ruth.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your warm welcome. As ma'am said, creativity is often paid lip service, but in reality, more schools are currently experiencing a creativity gap, with significantly more creative activity occurring outside the campus. And numerous psychologists also argue that creativity is not just an enrichment or add-on in the classroom. It is a definable, measurable set of psychological skills that enhance learning, and it will be necessary in the 21st century workforce. Many experts think of creativity as a set of skills or attitudes that anyone is capable of tolerating ambiguity, redefining old problems, or finding new problems to solve, taking sensible risk, and following an inner passion. But creativity also directly enhances learning by increasing motivation, deepening understanding, and promoting joy. And today we have with us a very eminent person, Mr. M. Ranganathan, who's the founder chairman of ABK AOTS Dosakai, which is the biggest Japanese language school in Chennai, which has been started in the year 1974. And today the school has 3 native Japanese teachers with 45 Indian teachers, many of whom were trained in Japan to be a language teacher by Japan Foundation. He has done his bachelor's degree in civil engineering in Madras University, postgraduate diploma in Indo-Japan relations and Japan studies, and PG diploma in international relations from Madras Christian College. To make a special mention, he's a regular faculty to many organizations in the area of Japanese management and cross-culture management for educational institutions and industries working with Japan. He was on the dais with the Honorable Prime Minister of Japan and has delivered a speech in that occasion. And in 2017, he was selected as one of the 7 distinguished alumnus of College of Engineering, Gindi Alumni Association, for sending more than 1,000 young engineers and Japanese teachers for employment. That's really voluminous. He has received many awards to add feather to his cap too. He has received Distinguished Leadership Award given by the American Biographical Institute. And in 2005, he has received one of the highest civilian awards given to the foreigners by Japanese government called Emperor's Award, the Order of Rising Sun, Golden and Silver Rays. And in 2005, again, he has received highest honor award from Rotary Clubs and received the Cultural Exchange Grand Prize. He has been appointed as the president of AOTS, Mr. Kuwayama as Monozukuri Ambassador from Tamil Nadu AOTS alumni, and many more to go. And we are privileged to have you here with us today in this platform, sir. And with this note, I now hand over the session to our resource expert, Mr. M. Ranganathan. Over to you, sir. So you can unmute and can deliver, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, respected Madam
Morning,
Principal
sir.
and the 2 organizing secretaries. And I'm sorry I have to trouble Madam Ruth number of times. Okay, sending things and my resume, this corrections, all that.
Not at all.
Okay, it's a pleasure to be with all of you. Though I'm not what I should say a teacher by profession, but I teach with enjoying every bit of my teaching. To be with the audience is a privilege, and I'm very, very thankful you have given me the privilege today to be with you all. I also would like to thank my junior from the college, Satyanarayanan, who introduced me to this august body of eminent teachers. Thank you all very much. I would like to present my this thing with a presentation, which will have my experience from the industry also, where we have been forced to be creative sometimes, whether we like it or not. Some of them have been very, very interesting projects which we never thought of. That's where I think there are people who think otherwise, but we also got involved into that. So some of them I'll share with you, and kindly allow me to go on to my presentation. I'll share my presentation. I'll ask Madam Ruth to make it available to all on the.
Yes, sir. You can share the screen now.
Okay, Madam.
Yes.
Okay. Once again, good morning. My name is Ranganathan. As you have said, it's a very long name, ABK OTS Tosokai Tamil Nadu Center. Many people always had a difficulty in pronouncing our name. So ABK stands for Asia Bunka Kaikon, Asian Cultural Organization, and AOTS for the Association of Overseas Technical Scholarship. Dosokai means Alumni Association, and we call ourselves as Tamil Nadu Center. We are such one of the 72 alumni centers present in 42 countries, because both the organizations belong to the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry. And below, you can see 4 of my photographs. They were taken. I just wanted to show what a hobby can do to you. It make my life very, very enjoyable. Okay, much later, what I started in the college days took a great part of my life, made my life very enjoyable. I always say a teacher has to promote. It's a couple of my teachers who are responsible for me to get into this sort of hobbies. A teacher need to promote. Of course, when I see schools where the children act, play, music, dance, drama, I think there's endless creativity available with all the teachers who have been leading the students. Thank you all very much. And all I'm saying is think differently. I hope everybody understands this much of Tamil, because I see some names which are not Tamil looking, but anyway, konjam maatu yosi. What we have been regularly thinking, just think differently. And that's where we become creative. This has been one of my company's logos that I always keep to my boys, saying that you have to think differently. Okay. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used to when we created them. Most of the problems have got their solution inside them. It is the people who do the work, they understand the problems as well as the solution. Many times, people are not asked what's the solution. So that's why the Japanese brought a system of quality circles later to make them get involved. Because today, COVID has been created by human beings, and maybe that has to be solved by us. It is supreme art of the teacher to awaken the joy in creative expression and knowledge. Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think. Think is very, very important. I always think we should have a separate thinking time every day in the class for the students, at least 10 to 15 minutes. I'll also tell you why I'm talking about it a little later as you come down. First, let me salute and congratulate all the teachers in India and all over the world for your quick response to ever-changing scenario in the field of education due to COVID. Teachers very quickly moved online teaching, which puts great pressure on the teaching community and the student community on how to make classes interesting and how to get the attention and participation of every child. The job becomes tougher with adult learners. If you have been a college teacher, it's much worse. And frequent unexpected intervention from the governments, both state, central, anything, that also makes it very, very difficult. You've all done it, carrying with your dedication as a community of teachers. Because wherever I am today, whatever Madam Ruth has talked about, I'll show you at the end. I have few teachers who have made me what I am today. Dedication, commitment, passion which you're all well known for, plus creative adaptation to the changing times. I bow before all of you. Thank you all very much. Now, I have a couple of questions to you all. I just want, after every question, I'll give you 30 seconds. You have to write whatever answer that comes into your mind somewhere you want. And then at the end, I will also talk to you. What is the response I got? You can check with your answers, how good yours or very near the answer. I showed this picture to a small child. The way that small child looked at the picture was reflected in her question, which I think was an expression of a child's creativity. Please think of a question you wish to ask or a comment you want to make seeing this picture. Okay, 30 seconds starts now. Okay, the next question. When I asked a child how a family trip to a hill station was, when her family took her on a summer vacation, the way she expressed it, I was pretty surprised. What do you think the child's reaction to my question or the comment she would have made to express her visit to a hill station for a vacation? 30 seconds, please. Okay, the next one. When I was in the 7th standard, we were taught by our teacher about pasteurization and all that. The teacher asked the class, why do we boil milk? One of my classmates, who later on became my classmate in engineering also, we all used to call him as Oppenheimer, the man, the German who was invented the use of atom. So he was a very brilliant guy, always out of the way, he will give answers. He gave a different answer. And then that answer looked really very interesting to small children like us. But it ended up let him, he's getting a couple of beatings from the teacher. Okay, now, why do we boil milk? Your answers, please, 30 seconds. Okay, let's go to the next one. See, this is, I was asked by my my director, College of Engineering, Guindy, and then that time was the Vice Chancellor also asked me, the college was celebrating its 200 years. So they both asked me, why don't you write the history of the college as a book? Because I used to do a lot of writing as a journalist for magazines like Kumudam and Anandavidan, along with being a photographer. My free time, I wanted to use somewhere. So they said, why don't you write the history of the college? There's no history book on the college. So I took the job, 200 years of history. The book was released by the president, then President of India, Honorable R. Venkataraman, and then the first copy was received by Dr. J. Jayalalitha. Now, when I was doing that, I came across a poem in the old college magazine. The students in an English class were asked to write a dramatic poem. A student wrote a poem as given below. A boy was walking on the track. The train was coming fast. The boy stepped out of the track and allowed the train to go past. The teacher said there was nothing dramatic about this poem. And he said he wanted to see the boy's creativity in the poem. So the boy rewrote the poem. The student rewrote. The boy was walking on the track. The train was coming fast. The train stepped off the track and allowed the boy to go past. And you know, what is the reward the boy would have got? Now, what is the first act of creativity that you can remember from your childhood? I tell you, this is a creativity lesson that we all have learned, but we don't remember that. It is the story of the thirsty crow, the proverbial crow that threw stones into the pot to get the water up. And also the mythological golden mango fruit and creative Lord Ganesha. This is purely a mythological story. You ask me any proof, I may not have a proof. But the Narada gave a mango. The Lord Paramashiva and his wife, they said, a man who comes around the globe 3 eyes will get the mango. So Lord Ganesha, being creative, he went around their parents and said, parents are my world, so I come across, went around the world, so give me the fruit. So that is the story. Now, he was my teacher. Fujita was his name. You look at his picture when he was young, when he was my teacher. Even I had the same amount of gray hair at that time. Then last year when I went to Sri Lanka for a convention, I met Professor Fujita, by which time we both have grown older. So he showed one of the examples for Kaizen, the continuous improvement. This is from an example from Mongolia. There was a shepherd boy who was taking his sheep for give them a bath in the morning, but the sheep will never put the head down into the water. So he has to have a stick and push the head down into the water, and then the head will go down, will give a bath. Now, the shepherd boy never heard about Kaizen or creativity, anything. He came with a simple creative idea. Now, if you were to be the shepherd boy, how do you think will be your idea to make the sheep to go down into the water with the head so that washing it will be much more easier? 30 seconds, please. Okay, let's see the answer. All that you can compare your answer with his answer. All that simple shepherd boy did was to go and cut a small pit in the front. So as soon as the sheep comes near that, the front legs will go inside that, head will automatically go into the water. So the head will go underwater. That is a very, very simple creative action by a small boy. Now coming back to my earlier questions. When I showed the Buddha's picture to a small girl, she asked me, why is it this uncle has got so many grapes on his head? Would have never thought of that as grapes on the head. I don't think I would have thought. Okay. How many of you would have thought grapes as an answer and written? You can check. We'll talk about the numbers at the end. I asked a small girl, how was your vacation to the hill station? She said, I felt as if I was sitting inside a refrigerator. I was wondering how these children can compare totally unrelated items into something between that. My friend, when my teacher asked him, why do you boil milk? So we were all thinking, because we had a lesson on pasteurization, the teacher wanted him to answer that. So my classmate, Oppenheimer Chari, asked, sir, have you seen a milk being boiled? The teacher was taken aback because he asked a question, the boy asked a question back. Said, yes, I have. Sir, when the milk is boiled, it comes on the top. At that time, when it comes on top, somebody can stand next to that with a ladle. Same amount of milk can be served to more number of people. So, to all young minds like us, oh, we thought, what a beautiful idea, how creative, how. At that time, we never even knew the word creative because Creativity has never been a subject in our days. I don't know whether it is a subject now in the curriculum. But I wish that we need to teach two things to our children: creativity, problem solving. Second is statistical tools, which are not being done, I think. So then the teacher gave him a couple of blows on his head. He understood the answer much better. Now, I also want to introduce you to my small team. My team is in 3 blocks: A, B, and the C. Okay. Do you now count the number of my players? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I hope all of you agree I got only 14 players. Correct? Now, what I've done is the first picture you can see is the A, B, C blocks as I've shown, and they've got 2 lines. And in the second one, all I've done is A and B I chained. Now the 2 lines have become 3 lines. All I've done is chain the 2 blocks into a different position on the top. Then it became. Now let's see what happens to my team. Now if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, there's a new guy here. Where did he come from? The 15th guy has sneaked in. Where did he come from? Now think about it and write your answer 30 seconds. Okay, answer to this question. By moving the blocks, the lines changed and the new member sneaked in, though he was there all along. This is only to show you, move your mental blocks and the ideas will come flooding in. All these ideas are there within you, like the 15th member, but they'll come back to you. Creativity is not anyone's property. We're all creative with a child's curiosity, without any inhibition. We just said what we wanted to say, how the children play, how they invent new games by themselves. But when we become older and older, we become adults, we start creating our own mental blocks. These blocks hide the ideas which are within you, like the 15th member. So as we grow older, where is that the creative thinking has gone? We do not know. Now, look at this poem, very interesting poem. This is what is happening to all of us in life. Bella had a new umbrella, didn't want to lose it. So when she walked out in the rain, she did not ever use it. Her nose went stiff, her shoes went squish, her socks grew soggy, her glasses got foggy, her pockets filled with water and a little green froggy. All she could speak was a little "Kato." That's all. Because of the cold she caught out of the rain. Now, what is happening? But Bella's umbrella stayed nice and new. Do we want our and your students' minds to stay nice and fresh and nice and new like Bella's umbrella? Allow them to use it. Allow them to use it. You can make a big difference. One important way a child learns of his self-worth is through his interaction or her interaction with you as a teacher. Be generous in praise and positive descriptions of a child's work and ideas. Remain focused on the uniqueness of each child and run an extra mile to nurture the child's trust and creativity. Hold group meetings where children can freely express ideas, particularly in the area of problem solving. Like what I said in the beginning, in your class, allocate 15 minutes of thinking time on anything not related to their lesson plan every day. If you go to Toyota in the assembly line, there will be two slogans. One, bring your mind to work. This is a very standard phrase. We should allow our children to bring their mind to work. For students to bring their mind to work. And when you are here, think. Children need praise, recognition. This is very, very important that teachers should give it. I know a story in a office. They had a problem, as I said. Basically, people who got the problem, they also have the solution. So they were discussing, and suddenly one of the employees, he got up and said, "I got a very good solution." And he told the group, they said, "We should inform the big boss." So he went rushing into the big boss room, and boss was eating his lunch. So he told, "This is my idea." The boss was thrilled because it is a problem that is affecting the factory. He didn't have anything to do, anything to give. So he was having on the plate a banana, which his wife had sent from home to be taken along with the lunch as a dessert. He gave the banana to that man. He was so thrilled, he went and told, "I got a banana." The banana, he could have gone outside and bought for 2 annas those days. But it was given by the boss. So the banana becomes something different. So the company after that invented a prize called Golden Banana Prize. Anybody who gives an excellent idea is given a banana, not made by gold, but ordinary wayside bananas. But the banana is given in front of all the employees on a stage. His idea is told to everybody, and then he's given the banana, and that's the most exciting prize a guy can get in the company, which is called as the Golden Banana Prize. So think, can we give the golden banana to every child in our class? Right from the beginning, sow this idea in children's mind that for any and every problem, there can be many answers. And logically right one could be also one of them. And many answers are products of creative thinking. This approach will develop problem-solving skills in them. This is something I always say when we all go to the industry. We never had an idea what is problem-solving. But the day one I went, I had a big problem in front of me. That's the day I finished my engineering. The next day, even before my results came, I got a job as a supervisor, 3 rupees a day job. I went there into the stores. They say, there is a road roller waiting in salt quotas. I have to bring it out before 5, otherwise I'll have to pay demurrage. Salt quotas, demurrage, all these were not taught in our engineering. My storekeeper said, if you don't bring it out by 5 o'clock, they will charge us. I said, how much? We don't know how much, but that will be recorded from your salary. I understood immediately. We rushed to get it out. And then, of course, we did a lot of things to get the road roller out. And then we also had to drive all that later. Creative thinking and teamwork are like quality circle, Kaizen. Many of the Japanese concepts have been working on that. Ask some open-ended questions to ask the children to inspire them, their creativity. What will the world be if Newton had not discovered the universal law of gravitation? If schools don't have examinations, okay, what will happen if we change driving on a right-hand side on the road within 2 days? You have to change the whole thing. But throw such open-ended question where the children can think. Tell them that not to see things as not only black and white. In those days, we used to do black and white photography, which is black and white, I call them as right or wrong. But apart from that, there can also be a gray area. So people should understand the gray also. Even in the morning when Madam Ruth was talking, she was talking about ambiguity. In Japan, we say to work in a factory, one of the most important thing is wa. If you write it in English, it's W-A, wa. Wa, which means harmony. Harmony has got 10 factors, and one of the factors is ambiguity. Never make things very clear. There is always a room, a foot on the door through which you can always go this way or that way. So ambiguity is a way of life. Children should understand. They should never be taught only a right or a wrong answer, but also think slightly different. Konjam maati yosi. Teach them to develop the why of mind. There should be why mind, their questioning mind. Many times we say, I say it, you do it. I want the results by this evening. This happens in the industry. But we have to ask the children. So I used to have a client, they make specs in Japan called Hoya. Their project manager and director used to come very often for the project. You'll ask my employees, what is 1 plus 1? They say 2. Then say, why 2? So if people think, oh, 2 is the wrong answer. So they'll say 1 plus 1 is 11. Somebody will say, can it be something else? But he'll say, we accept 1 plus 1 as 2 because that's the way we have been told by our teachers. That has been, the books have been written. But we never even ask whether that is the answer, right or wrong. That is different. Irrespective of that, you should ask the question why. You don't ask why, you will never understand the exact how to do things. So that's why in every project, later on I moved out of my construction industry and went on to IT. There, this concept why is always very, very fundamental. I mean, even engineering can never work without a why. Okay? And make your classroom a creative classroom. Have a weekly question in the weekend for the students to think and come out with the creative ideas, all exhibited in a creativity board that is to be seen by all of them. We'll put a creativity board, throw a question to them on a Friday evening, Saturday think, Sunday they think and come out with different answers, put everybody's answer. Always understand there is no right answer, wrong answer. That's where the gray comes in. These ideas are seen by everyone. Let imagination run wild. Call the best idea person and with the applause from all, they recognize him and her. But who recognizes? So all the students, they look at the creativity board and then they say, this is the best idea we have come across. Let it not be always the teacher. If it so happens that the same student gets selected, they'll say there's a partiality. Make it very open. And then maximum creative idea person at the end of 1 year or 3 months, 6 months, you make a period and then give a book on creativity as a prize. Let there be 100% free and fair selection by giving experience of seeing others' ideas and fair evaluation by as an experience. This is something that we should think of, creating a creative classroom. And we've got enough creative persons when they are in the smaller class. Tell them Tenali Raman, Birbal, Paramartha Guru, Panchatantram stories once a week. 15 minutes of story time. Ask every one of them to turn in turn on a turn basis. Tell the class a story, a real life incident related to creative thinking, depending on the, of course, class level. And the Osborne-Prims model is the oldest widely accepted model on problem solving. It is often used in education business environment to promote creativity. It has got the 6 steps: problem identification, where it is creativity and brainstorming is used, fact finding, data collection, finding the cause, the why we ask, idea finding for as a solution, that is creativity brainstorming, then solution finding, systematic logical approach and acceptance. This we don't do at 5th standard, 6th standard. By the time they come to 9th to 10th standard, this sort of an approach it becomes very important, is what I think. But that's a sort of people who come and join us in the industry. You should assign assignments, you should design assignments that consider both types of thinking model: convergent, analytical thinking, and logical answers, and also divergent, use different ways to approach a problem. See creativity in the positive light. Reward and not punish students thinking of problem, like my friend Chari getting a couple of beatings on his head, because when he came with a solution of the boiling of the milk, in a varied ways by recognizing their efforts. Students are normally witty, jovial, open, and sometimes mischievous also. Enjoy the ways of their behaving also. I had a classmate, we used to be very much afraid of our principal. He was a very, very serious guy. We have never seen him laughing in Hindi. And then just opposite his room was a girl's room. I had a classmate, whether he knows his timetable or not, he will know a particular girl's timetable. he'll be going and talking. So the office manager observed it. He came and told him, this is not the place where you talk to the girls. Very seriously, the boy asked him, sir, do you have any other place where I can talk to them? So he got very annoyed. He took him by hand, pulled him into the principal's room, rushed and said, sir, this is what the boy asked. For the first time, everybody was surprised when my friend came and told all of us. The principal laughed loud and said, boys are boys. They are mischievous. Go. So that sort of a thing. But a very serious principal can take it light, and allow room for mistakes. Sir Ken Robinson said, the allowing room for mistakes, the best way he said, if you're not prepared to be wrong, you never come up with anything original. So allow them to have mistakes. Mistakes is the best learning place. We always have in Japan, in the companies, when we work, we what you call as Ansei Kai, a reflection meeting. The reflection meeting has got both. If we are successful, we have a reflection meeting, why we became successful, whether that can be replicated in some other similar problem solving issue. If we are not successful, what are the causes where we went down and how could they be tackled for the thing? Because we never want to have a very similar scenario later. Encourage curiosity. Creativity is intrinsic in nature. Try to promote creativity by stepping into their viewpoints and to find out what motivates them. And then, this is in my college magazine. I always think, one second, let me move this. Okay. This is on a college magazine. When I was writing the college history of the book, I was going to the old magazine. See, the college used to have its own cafeteria, a mechanical boy taking one of my very big seniors years back, how people moving through a revolving door can move the entire motion to roll out chapatis out. So when you see a magazine of a school, how much the students can be creative is very well exhibited there. Unfortunately, I find my college discontinued the magazine for quite some years. College magazine is a school magazine. They're all great source of gold mines of information, gold mines of creativity of the students. Encourage them to participate. Creative teaching focuses on the teacher and his or her planning for engagement, interest, motivation, understanding, inclusion, support, enthusiasm, whatever it is. That is a creative teaching which focuses on the teacher. Teaching for creativity focus on the student and the extent to which their own creative thinking is being developed. Maybe you can discuss later whether they are mutually exclusive or inclusive. But we need creative teaching from the teacher's point of view and teaching for creativity from the student's point of view. Sorry, it's not moving. Okay. I had a Japanese professor in Japan who was teaching us quality. He was teaching us quality as an advisor. He was an advisor for steel companies in Japan. He had seen children keeping flowers and leaves between pages of books, and after some time, they lose their original color and become dry and dark. He was a professor of metallurgy, and he applied quenching of steel to drying of flowers. Quenching is a technique used by metal workers or metal heat treating companies after they have treated the steel at a very high temperature. They may have been relieving the stress or normalizing it. If the professional does not bring the metal back to the room temperature quickly, the microstructure of the metal might change, which will comprise its strength. That's a metallurgical portion of it. So he applied this knowledge of metallurgy in drying flowers. And he found a technique of dehydrating the flowers very quickly, removing the water content, and thus retain the original color of the dried flowers. And making flowers and putting them into pendant became a big business for him. A solar energy lab technician had a problem. A research lab was experimenting with solar cell materials called gallium arsenide, which was causing her problems in slicing this at the stage of cell production. Her task was to use a special high-speed water saw to make precision cuts on the material. But every time she cut the material, it cracked. She tried changing the position of the saw, the material still cracked. She was quite frustrated. At the home in the weekend, she was her husband's shop watching him to make cabinets. She noticed that when he wants to make precision cuts of certain types of wood, he reduced rather than increase the saw's cutting speed. She got an idea. Why not try the same approach for gallium arsenide? So she did. It worked. Her carpenter husband has got nothing to do with it. Now she has got anything to do with cabinet. But looked at one, carried the idea into another. Creative approach. Talking of carpenters, I want to share one more story. I know personally this is a story in which I was also a part of this. I know this is a real story of a Japanese carpenter who became owner of IT company in digital movie editing and management. He was cutting wood. He is from Osaka. Later on, I also bring him to meet Rajinikanth's family because he wanted to buy some of his movies. So this guy was cutting the wood vertically from one end to another. Suddenly he got an idea. Why is it Microsoft has got a software through which you can cut the movies and join them, editing them. Suppose you want a 3 hours movie to be shown in 1.5 hours. Microsoft has got a tool by which you can cut and remove the music portion and again join them. So I said that way, the originality of the film movie is not retained. So I said, if I can cut the wood vertically from one end to another, why not I cut the movie? So he came and then worked with a friend of him, digitally cut that into 99% and 1%. The 1% he held with himself, and 99% he put in a CD and sold that movie in the market. But without that 1%, nobody can view the movies. So he wanted a digital mixing player to be made, and he was looking for an Indian company to do that. And that's where I met him. Now, he gave me a very, very tough target time within which I have to move. So, and then deliver it. So I looked, and then, of course, they have a budget. You cannot put not any number of people. This is not a project where you can put, or instead of 10 people, I can put 100 people and reduce it in 1/10 of a time. So we also will have to think differently. So immediately my office, we selected some 6 bachelor boys who will never want to go home. We bought 6 beds, pillows, everything, put them down there in the office. We made them to sleep in the office, go have a breakfast in the nearby hotel, come back and do. We made it and delivered to them. There was another creative product that we made. In Japan during the month of August 15th to September 15th, people have a obon where they go and pray for the ancestors thing. But over a period of time, the children have all gone to US, everywhere settled. How to do this obon prayer? Going to the graves of the parents, grandparents and pray, which is a big issue. So we had a discussion. We made a digital obon creative prayer thing. So a Japanese company bought a hotel which is not doing well, converted them into rooms. In each room, the ashes of the parents will be kept with the numbers. The number is given to the children who are abroad. Remotely, they can operate. A robot will go and bring that ash, keep it there in the bookstore. That is the prayer place. Then it will ring the bell. Will make the incense sticks to burn, and then there will be smoke there. And then depending on which sect of Buddhism, because it is done by Buddhists, all the death prayers are done by Buddhists, and they are different sects. Depending on the sect in which you are there, you can select your own sutras. So the person presses the thing, that particular sect's sutras will come, it will be played, and then once it is all over, it will go back and then it will close. Up to that, you can watch. This again we did. Creativity is going beyond why we are doing it, but then asking why not we do it this way. It is about asking the questions that have not been asked, constantly asking what if, setting challenging. one of the three people, they say the importance of creative thinking. Recognizing the basic idea is one situation, applying one situation, and applying to another situation. The benefits of transferring knowledge gained in one area to another seems obvious, like the professor of metallurgy, the lady who cut, and my carpenter friend, all that. So one of the answer is specialization. Specialization is a fact of life. In order to function in the world, you have to narrow your focus and limit your field of view. Okay. When you are trying to generate new ideas, however, such information handling attitudes can limit you. There are not only many force you into delimiting your problem too narrowly, they may also prevent you from looking outside areas of your life. That's why we always say, as the students grow more and more, you should also have the generalistic abilities within him. Otherwise, in me, like the fat constable who is not even able to run, he has to go and catch a thief. How can this happen? Open mind to accept new ideas, irrespective of which source it is coming from. The current scenario, the other side of the coin in the COVID online learning is that access to internet can be misused by some students on games for getting into unwanted contacts and also by many net predators, which is a shadow pandemic to fight with. Maybe you may need creativity to work, teaching methods, how to make online learning exciting, and also how to keep your herd safe with you. Make yourself available 24/7 if need be to the students who may feel depressed. They may need your counseling. They may need your advice. There are even students that could go into suicidal tendencies. Maybe the parents will need you. As a teacher, please, now this is the time when you need to play that role also. Mix and match learning with exposing your students' nature and world outside to various virtual tours of nature and other things. Post-COVID, hobbies help us to grow as a person. I had number of hobbies. One is photography. I've shown. I ran with a magician to learn some magic, which I did not do very well. I ran behind a hypnotist to learn hypnotism. I did not do very well. I was a stage manager for a dramatic troupe. I want to try my hand in many things. That definitely gave me a lot of confidence when trying to handle things. I worked for 2 years in Iraq when the Iran war was on full swing. Every day, shells falling over our heads, bombs falling at our workplace. We could take things light because uh, we could apply our mind very differently. Tell the students to make them the best way to have a new hobby is to try something new. All of us are unique, and this is the reason why our hobbies and interests are different. Once we find an activity which we are passionate about, we can explore that activity more. Inculcate the idea of taking one or more hobbies into the young minds of your class. Tell them the importance of hobbies. That is where teachers should make your students more as a generalist, not only getting stuck with a few areas of the thing. Now, here is a question for you. Please, this is 30 seconds again. Remove 4 letters so that the remaining letters, without altering their sequence, will spell a familiar English word. Remove 4 letters so that the remaining letters, without altering their sequence, will spell a familiar English word. Okay, now in this, remove 6 letters so that the remaining letters, without altering their sequence, will spell a familiar English word. Please remove 6 letters so that the remaining letters, without altering their sequence, will spell a familiar English word. 30 seconds, please. Okay. Now it's a small question time from me. Who are all the ones who got the first one right? 4 letters removing train. Everybody got train? Okay, must have been very easy. What about the second one? What is the word that you got? How many of you got banana within 30 seconds? Very quickly. Which was easy, which was difficult? Maybe when I finish, you have a question time, at the time I can say. Now, why is it, if you look at this, if I have not given the first example, many of you would have done the second example better. You always try to, I call that as mind consume. We put ideas into mind so the mind doesn't think beyond it. We set the framework. When I say 4 letters, it is very easy. In the second one, we count 6 letters. Maybe somebody would have thought out of the way, the creative person would have just removed 6 letters which form the word 6 letters. Then the remaining will be banana. But if you have counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, looking for 6 words, 6 letters, then you'd have taken a hell of a lot of time, still not solved it. So our idea is not to put children's mind into a framework. Allow them, make them free, not to become a 6-letter guys. My 6th to 8th standard teacher, Ramanath Iyer, was my management guru. Very interesting. I wonder what many books of leadership, management, what taught me later in my life. I heard it from my teacher. My teacher was just an SSLC. That's why he was teaching. At that time, there was no need for B.Ed, M.Ed or anything. He was teaching there. So we all finished up to 5th class in different schools. We all joined this high school at the 6th standard. And then there was a class leader election. Everybody has to talk. If I was to become a leader, what would I do for the class? So we all spoke. I spoke definitely pretty good. So I got elected as a leader. 6th standard, 7th standard, 8th standard, or the first form, second form, third form. But whichever way it was there. Then we went to the middle school, 9th standard. Again, I contested the election. I lost the election. By the time Ramanath Iyer was not my teacher. Because after 8th standard, he doesn't come to the 9th or 10th and 11th. So I was walking, he was in the teacher's room. He called me, come here. I went to him. He asked me, did you lose your election? I said, yes, sir. He said, I knew that you would lose your election. I was very surprised. So I asked him, sir. He said, you were the leader for 3 years, and in 3 years, your head started weighing too much. You never carried the humility of a leader. Now, carry the humility of a leader. Again, next year you contest, you will win. Leader must be humble, and you should carry the humility. Second thing is that you proclaim yourself as a leader, but never was you were accepted by others. Leader is one who never calls himself a leader, but everybody around him, they call him as a leader. I don't think anywhere else I would have got a message which went so strongly into my mind right through my life. Now, I had a Tamil teacher, Dandapani. He created the interest in Tamil for me. So I, even in engineering college, I ran the Tamil Association for 3 years, from third year, fourth year, fifth year, because only when third year you can become the secretary there. And then that brought me into close contact with my chemistry teacher, Dr. M.S. Udayamurthy, the very famous man, Unnal Mudiyam Thambi. So that M.S. Udayamurthy was my teacher. I learned more of Tamil from him than any chemistry. He kindled my passion in Tamil oratorical debating areas. Because of Dandapani's teachers, Dandapani sir's inculcating Tamil interest in me, he saw I was interested in that. That time when I was in the SSLC, there were 12 Tamil oratorical contests, which all of them I won. When I went to admission into engineering, at that time no test, only personal interview. There were 3 people I went. One of them was G.R. Damodaran of PSG College. He asked me, saw all my certificate and said, I mean, there may be few of you are cannot speak Tamil, please forgive me, but I'll also explain you. He said, Palliyil Payilam Mori Paindamizhaga Irukal Vendam. Please speak for 5 minutes. That means your medium of instruction must be Tamil. And I spoke. Then he said, okay, after 4 minutes, he said, stop. Now, Palliyil Payilam Mori Paindamizhaga Irukka Koodadu. He said, now you speak why Tamil should not be the medium of instruction. Again, I spoke. I got admitted in engineering college, nothing else. Never a question was asked on physics or mathematics or anything, only this. And I got. Of course, my mother was a great Tamil speaker. She, maybe somewhere she has gifted that to me. And my first physics teacher and my NCC officer was K.M. Swaminathan, who was really my mentor, who induced confidence and courage in my life, along with my father, my first teacher, who taught me fear and assumptions are 2 great enemies of life. Now, 2 years before, when my structural professor Sri Ramalu passed away, and I heard the news, I couldn't control myself. I went to his house, saw his body lying down there. I broke down, I started crying. So he came from inside. He saw, by the time I had a lot of gray hair, and said, so an old man, I was 75 at that time. My teacher was at least 15 years elder to me. He said, sir, who are you? I weeping, I said with a lot of pride, I was a student. When I said I was a student, the pride I had, the passion I had for my teacher, I could exhibit with that one word, I was a student. That is where teachers make a difference in life. In my life, I had right starting from Namarada here to Sri Ramalu. I had a number of teachers. We used to go to a teacher, when I'm Professor Sadasiv. His class, he would scold people very badly. But a great teacher, great teacher. More than his teaching, we loved his English. Every day he will use a new phrase, new way of scolding somebody. We always wanted, how does he generate so much vocabulary and how does he, that is a very attractive point for us. So the teachers make a different life. Now, this is a very favorite thing. I don't know how many of you have seen this paper, Dinatandi. Dinatandi was by Adityanar, and there is a story called Kannithivu, Sindhubad story. This started 1960, still it is running. 1960, 40 plus 20, 60 years the story is running. But if you honestly see, it will have only 4 or 3 pictures. Sindhubad will start somewhere in the first picture, that's where he will end in the last picture also. But everybody buys, and first thing they'll say, where is Sindhubad today? We know very well nothing else has moved, but the same thing will be there. And that is where the creativity. Adityanar, when any reporter writes a message and shows, he used to have a statue of a rickshaw puller on his table. He will show the statue. Do you think this man can read your article and understand what you have written? If he can understand, anybody can understand. இவனுக்கு புரிந்தால் எவனுக்கும் புரியும். That's what he used to say. That means what you do is, it's a very way you write, must have choice of words, simplicity in style, and creative approach. That makes Dinatandi a best circulated paper in South India. I had the great privilege of working in the 3 big and then the Kumudam editor Arasu and Raki Rangarajan, Jara Sundaresan and Punithan. Amount of creative ideas, every photograph is very different. Similarly, Mr. Bharanidharan of Anandavadu. I mean, they are all great teachers. My teachers were lying all over the place, not only in the classroom. In the classroom, my teachers went beyond just their textbook teachers. All I want is know the pulse of your audience, and you become a teacher beyond limits. Don't draw any lines around you. You are everything for your student. You are everything for your student. Keep that in your mind. If you understand their pulse, by your very creative approach, you can make life very, very different. Okay. There is a story of creativity. I want to just tell two things. Give me 3 minutes, I'll finish it. Once there was a patient in a hospital with a COVID scenario, maybe, and he was critically ill, and the doctors were trying all medicines, and the patient was saying, I'll be dying tomorrow. I'll be dying tomorrow. Because that is the time when the leaves are falling from the tree because of fall season. And he said, see, all the leaves are falling one by one. When the last leaf falls, I will also fall. That's my day. Then he waited and waited. The autumn was over. Then winter came. That was also over. But still there was one leaf which refused to fall from the tree. And then spring came and the new leaves started growing. So the doctor came and said, how are you today? Doctor, I'm going to live. Doctor said, how are you sure? I've been giving you medicine. He said, look at the leaf that is there still. The leaf have survived and I will survive. Doctor said, don't take out your eye from the leaf. I'll bring it down. Let's see what is the magical leaf that has made you live. So he sent a guy to go climb up the thing and bring it. Then the doctor showed him. That is a painted leaf fixed by the doctor on that tree. That's a creative leaf that gave confidence and hope to the patient. Second thing, in 1973, first time I was in Japan, we had a all international evening. The Indian students, we had to prepare something. So we decided to prepare the easiest thing was samosa. So we made samosa, gave it to all the Japanese guests. And that time there were no Indian restaurants. Maybe there were only 2 Indian restaurants in Tokyo. I brought my friend from Kawasaki. He was also a Tamil lover, a Japanese person. Of course, he and his wife came. Then I gave them samosa. After a month or so, I went to their house. Okay. Then his wife gave me samosas. I asked, how did you make samosa? Do you have any Indian cookbook? She said, no Indian cookbook. She said, after you gave me samosa, I liked it. I thought, when you come to my house, I should give you the same thing. She packed 2 of them in a tissue paper, brought it home, cut it open, checked everything, what could have been the ingredient going in, tested one by one, putting them in the mouth, tasting them, and went to the stores by herself, looked at it, things, and bring them all together and created samosa. A housewife can create samosa. All of us can create great students with all our talents. I really thank you all for being with me. My special thanks to Principal Program Director and the Organizing Secretary, NKT Center for Excellence, and every one of you have been patient with me for the last 1 hour. Thank you. I'm open for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the fantastic session. And thank you for throwing light about creativity and how important it is to inculcate creativity among the students by sharing your personal experience. It was really inspiring. Thank you so much, sir. Participants, if you have any questions, you can type it in the chat box. Sir is ready to answer.
Thank you, sir. It was a very informative session. We really enjoyed the session. And I'm sure it's going to make a lot of difference among our student teachers as well as our faculty members. Thank you very much.
So we have one question from a YouTube participant. It's Vidya Sagar Kumar from Pune. He has asked how to teach stress management for PG students in higher education.
First and foremost, I always think this is a very interesting question. I also go through the same thing. Especially you're talking about teaching. When I go to my office where we have a very tight schedule and resources are limited, we also get stressed. Whatever happens, please, you are the source. Carry your best smile all the time. If you are stressed, your people are going to get stressed. So first and foremost, you are the source. Don't show them any stress. You must know how to smile. Even if your heart is weeping, you should know how to smile. Keep smiling all the time. And you could always, any problem can be solved once you understand the cause of the problem. Talk to them. Spend some time, understand why are they getting stressed. If there is a cause that you can handle it, you can change, you can be a change agent for that, please try. First, understand the cause. But you have to pass on the assurance, like the doctor fixing up the leaf. You can always carry a magic leaf with you with your smile.
Yes.
That's my very simple solution at hand.
Yeah, that's nice. Thank you. Next one, a question from Ms. Rajamani. How to create innovation, teaching and learning through online?
Your first move onto online, that itself is an innovation. And that's a sign of creativity. You think that teaching in a class is easy or online is easy? Online is very difficult. It's not an easy job at all. You have to work with technology. Not all teachers have been, even I have to struggle, even though I had an IT company and the people working. How to share my screen, big problem. I myself never knew, all of us. But with all that, you overcome all that. And today's thing, you overcome technology, you overcome difficulties. You have all invented your own styles of teaching in that thing. The only difference is when you are in a live classroom, you can know who are the guys who are sleeping, who are the guys who are not
Yes.
interested by the looks. These are the things that are missing. You know, we also teach online teaching now, Japanese to all the people. We also have the problem. Online teaching, sometimes, unfortunately, the Zoom has got a thing, you can switch off your video. The boy can switch off and then he can go anywhere else and come back, and the last minute he can switch on again, come back and show his face. What can you do about it? Technology has got its own plus and its own minus. So you cannot keep them all asking them to switch on and keep things, because that's going to consume power, may give you some other issues. So it's a very difficult thing. But innovation, innovation is something, basic idea of innovation is there, but you have to create your own method. So understand your audience. This is always very, very fundamental. Very, very fundamental. Always give small breaks, make it interactive, ask them to do something, and then at the end of the thing, give them a question, throw them, ask them all to come back with the answer next class. So involving them with you makes a big difference. Then it's a single monotonous one-way work. Maybe it does not interest or impress people. Right. I don't know whether I've answered your question or not. That's what I can think.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for the wonderful question and answer session. Now we'll move on to the last segment of this webinar, gratitude, which is the fairest blossom which springs out of the inner soul. I now call upon my counterpart, Mrs. T. Anita Devi, to spell out the words of gratitude. Over to you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay, proceed.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. The essence of all beautiful art is gratitude. A very pleasant noon to all. It gives me an immense pleasure to propose a vote of thanks for this national webinar on promoting creativity in learning and teaching, organized by NKT Center for Excellence, NKT National College of Education for Women. On behalf of our management, our Honorable Secretary, Dr. M. Arumugam, our ever vibrant principal and the program director, Dr. S. Chamundeshwari, the controller of examination, Dr. N. Kalayarasi, the Dean of Academics and IQAC coordinator, Dr. S. Malati, and our beloved faculty members, I would like to express my sincere gratitude and respect to our renowned resource expert of this webinar, Mr. M.R. Ranganathan, Chairman, ASK AOTS Dosakai, Tamil Nadu Center, College of Engineering, Gindi, Chennai, for the enlightening speech on promoting creativity in learning and teaching. Sir, it was such an interesting and thought-provoking session. I would also like to thank our enthusiastic participants and our student teachers, scholars from our esteemed institution for making this webinar a resounding success. Finally, I thank my fellow companion, Mrs. A. Enid Ruth, Assistant Professor, for her endless support and laborious efforts. At last, I would like to end up with this quote by the greatest scientist, Albert Einstein. Creativity is seeing what everyone else has seen and thinking what no one else has thought. Once again, I thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Anita ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir, for
Thank
the
you.
wonderful session and a meaningful, making it as a meaningful session indeed. Thank you very much, sir. And participants, the feedback link has been shared in the chat box. You can make use of it. It's an auto-generated feedback, so it will be available for the next 3 days. Only 100 is possible today. So others, you can make use of it tomorrow. Thank you so much. You've been a wonderful people today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much.